So if you all see, last time when we worked on the products, maybe it was on what date I don't know, when we were filtering the products, I guess so day 13. So I had to fetch all this code into the very class on which I was performing the operations on. But these are two different things, right? Data is different and the operations are different. So what we can do is we can put this data into a separate class. Okay, so let's try to do it right away. So I'll just, now there is no data, so this should start complaining. So as I do a save, this should start complaining that I don't see any products. And what I'll do is I'll put this data into a separate JS file, maybe a separate folder also if possible. In the JavaScript session, make a separate folder called data, and in that data we can make a file called products.js, and in that we can write this. Okay. Now once we have the data and I want to use this data anywhere over here, then I need to import that data. Correct? Then I need to import that data over here. So to have import privileges, you should be a module. Okay, this is very important. Okay, you should be a module to have import privileges. Okay, so let's jump back to day 13. Let's jump back to day 13 over here. Okay, so now we'll be again back to the console programming, and where are we over here? Here. Okay, so it is saying product is not defined because it is not able to identify the products. So I have removed it from here. So the class which is consuming, this is importing, right? So to have import licenses, you should be declared as a module. So you have to come over here. So when we are using this, the main HTML index HTML has to give you the licensing for import. So that it says by saying type equals to module. So once you have been declared as a type as module, then you start having the privilege of importing. Now you can import. Without being type module, you do not have import privileges. So now we can import, but to import you have to export first. To import you have to export first. So this class has to export, and there are two types of exports now. Okay, there are two types of exports. One is named export, wherein we can export multiple things as objects over here. So I have three variables and I'm importing them, exporting them individually. So you can export each variable individually. So let's say this product.js. Okay, so here I have let batsman equals to Virat, let bowler equals to Bumrah, and let captain equals to Rohit. Let's assuming. Okay, now I want to export these. So what I can do is I will say export, and then whatever I want to export, I will take the name of that variable and put it over there. So now, and okay, this is called as named export. So named export, you can export as many things you want to export. You can export as many things as you want to export. As you are exporting them in curly brackets, you have to also import them in curly bracket now. So when if I want this batsman Virat Kohli name over here, so this is the exporter, right? And the module is the importer. Okay, so the module will import. So it will import also in curly brackets. So it will import whatever is batsman from .data.products. Okay, and here then I can console.log my favorite batsman is $, syntactic. Okay. So once you have become the module, now you can export. So I'll just do a save all once, and let's go back to our document. Let's do a refresh and see what it says. Data products.js, right? You have to give the extension .js. And now it says my favorite batsman is Virat. So it has imported Virat from there. Like this, I can import all the others also. Bowler and captain. So you export, named export has to be carried out in curly bracket while exporting also, and while importing also named exports have to be imported in. Okay, and then you can make use of them over here. So I have not declared these variables over here, I am just using them over here. Okay, so my favorite bowler is bowler, and my favorite captain is captain. So control S, see it shows me. Okay, then I can also send all of this data products over here, but I can then I can send one as default exports. From one file there can only be one default export. From one file there can only be one default export. So I will say export default. Okay, so what happened over here? Syntactical error. So let's write it over here, and at the rate below we can say export default, and what I want to export default the products. So this you can directly export without writing curly bracket. So now, and one file can only have one default export, and this default export you can directly import it over here in your day 13 without any parentheses. Okay, like this. So now I have got the data, and now does not provide an export name default. Not save it. See, now it is getting all the data over here. So this is the concept of import and export. First thing, you only get import privileges when you are declared as a module in your index HTML. Okay, so if I would not give this import module, if I don't make it as a module, see what it says. It says cannot use import statement outside module. You're trying to so this is trying to import without being a module. So it has to first have the licensing to import. Now it can import. Okay, and which is the exporter. If it wants to export multiple variables, you'll have to export it within curly bracket. This is called as named export. Called as named export. And only one single, if you want to export only one single value, then that is called as your default export. While importing named export, named export has to be imported the way they were exported, but default export will be outside the bracket, and it can have any other name also. It can have any other name also. So here, if the name I had given over here was, let's say, my products, okay, whatever I was giving, my products, and here I will export my products. But while importing, I am not importing it in my products. I am importing it in as products. This is also perfectly fine. Will not be a problem. This privilege is only for the default export. That while importing, you can import it as any other name, but not for the named export. Named export have to be imported the name which you have given while exporting. Importing also have to use the same name. But for default exports, if you get as it is only one value, right? So it knows that from this file only one default export will come. Irrespective it is apple, orange, carrot, I will take it in this variable. Does that make sense, guys? Are you all getting the stuff? Today we've done a lot of JavaScript, a handsome amount of JavaScript we have done today. Okay, starting with event handling, then DOM manipulation, and then now types of export and import.